All right, welcome to NFL Nexus, the show where we break down the complex plays happening both on and off the field. Today, we are diving deep, and I mean deep, into the Cleveland Browns to uncover a new kind of playbook, one that's being written far from the Sunday gridiron, in the halls of power, and believe it or not, on the screens of millions. So let me ask you a question. How do you build a winner in today's NFL? For decades, the answer seemed pretty simple, almost romanticized, right? You draft well, you develop your players, you outcoach the other guy, and you win on Sunday. Simple. But what if that whole playbook is obsolete? What if the most important battles aren't just for yardage anymore, but for leverage, for the narrative, and for the very rules of the game itself? The truth is, it's about so much more than just the game now. There are these new battlegrounds opening up all across the league, and they're changing the very definition of what it even means to be a successful franchise. And to really get our heads around this, we're going to put one team under the microscope, the Cleveland Browns, because right now, what they're doing is showing us all that building a modern NFL team means fighting a war on multiple fronts, all at the same time. So the Browns are basically engaged in what we can call a two-front war. The first front is this long-term strategic campaign to change the fundamental rules of the league itself. The second is a much faster, short-term tactical fight for public perception, and it's happening right inside their own locker room. Let's break down that first front, the one that could honestly change everything. Okay, this is the long game. And look, we're not talking about some trick play or a new free agent signing. No. We are talking about a gutsy, incredibly forward-thinking attempt by the Browns front office to fundamentally rewrite the rules of team building, a move that could shift the balance of power across the entire league and change how every single team operates for the next decade. Now, what's really fascinating about this slide is how simple the proposal looks, but how absolutely massive its implications are. Right now, NFL rules say you can't trade draft picks more than 3 seasons away. The Browns want to blow that up and extend the window to 5 years. It seems small, right? Just 2 years. But that 2-year difference would completely revolutionize the trade market. I mean, just imagine you're a rebuilding team, say the Carolina Panthers. You could trade your veteran star pass rusher to a contender, not just for picks in the next couple of drafts, but for a pick 5 years down the line. That future pick is this incredible long-term asset. It's almost like a stock option on a future blue-chip prospect you don't even know exists yet. For the contender, they get that final piece for a Super Bowl run. The possibilities for these creative, almost NBA-style deals would just explode. The key concept here is something called draft capital liquidity. Now, what the heck's that? Well, think of it like cash. The more future picks you can legally trade, the more liquid you are. It means you have more assets to play with, more financial tools to build your roster. You could bundle those distant picks to go get a star player right now, or you could trade a current star for a whole package of picks that sets you up for years and years to come. It's all about turning future potential into present power. The Browns believe that in a league with a hard salary cap, the team that can manage this liquidity the best will have a massive, sustainable advantage. So the crucial point is, this isn't just some random idea they cooked up in an office. No way. This is a direct, calculated response to failure. The memory of that 45-14 playoff shellacking by the Houston Texans is the engine driving this whole thing. That game where Joe Flacco threw 2 costly pick sixes, it just exposed the Browns' roster as brittle. It wasn't about one player. It was about a top-heavy roster that just couldn't withstand injuries. They were paying top dollar for stars, but the depth just wasn't there. This proposal is their answer. It's a way to create more flexibility to build the kind of sustainable depth that can survive a 17-game season and a deep playoff run, especially as veteran contracts for quarterbacks and receivers continue to just explode, eating up more and more of that precious cap space. And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures the mindset. This is about moving from playing checkers to playing chess against the entire league. It's a fundamental shift from just thinking about the next game to strategically positioning your franchise for the next decade. The Browns are essentially trying to get the NFL to adopt an NBA-style trade market, where teams like the Lakers have historically mortgaged a distant future to win now. They're gambling that their analytics-heavy front office is smart enough to wield these powerful new tools better than anybody else. But here's the thing. This long-term, high-level strategy, that's only one front of the war. While the front office is playing chess with the league's 31 other owners, a much faster, much more chaotic game of perception is unfolding right inside their own quarterback room. And this is where it gets personal. Welcome to the second front, the war for the narrative. This battle isn't fought with contracts or rule proposals. No, it's fought with tweets, Instagram stories, and cryptic three-word messages. And it's all centered around the most important and most scrutinized position in all of sports, where perception can very often become reality. So this slide really lays out the central conflict. On one side, you've got Shedeur Sanders, a rookie who started 7 games and put up some very, well, let's be honest, some pretty worrying numbers: 7 touchdowns to 10 interceptions and a passer rating of just 68.1. On the other side, you have the incumbent, Deshaun Watson. He's 30 years old, sitting on a massive $230 million restructured contract, and this is the big one, he's trying to come back from a second Achilles tear that cost him the entire 2025 season. It's the unproven rookie versus the, well, unproven veteran. Now, into this already volatile mix, you inject a new, powerful variable, a new head coach, Todd Monken, who replaces Kevin Stefanski after a dismal 5-12 season. A coaching change, you know this, it resets all loyalties. All bets are off. Monken has no allegiance to Watson's contract or Sanders' draft status, and then GM Andrew Berry confirms it. It's going to be an open competition. All of a sudden, every single practice rep, every sideline conversation, and every public signal from these two quarterbacks becomes magnified, scrutinized, and incredibly significant. So, with the stage set for a competition, how does a young quarterback with shaky on-field stats start to gain an edge? Well, he does it by understanding that in the modern NFL, a single, well-timed social media post can become a more powerful weapon than a perfectly thrown deep ball. And this is it. This is the spark. Shedeur Sanders posts a simple 3-word message online, "Thank you, God." It's a familiar phrase, right? Seemingly innocent, something you see from athletes all the time. But in the context of a quarterback competition, in a city starved for a winner, these 3 words didn't just get posted, they detonated. They ignited a firestorm of speculation across the entire fan base and media landscape. Was he thanking God for a good practice? Or was he thanking God because he'd been told he was winning the job? The ambiguity, that was the whole point. And this brings us to a crucial concept, the attention economy. In this new world, attention is a currency, and it's incredibly valuable. In the NFL, where the quarterback is king, players can generate real leverage by saying very little. Short, ambiguous messages are perfect because they maximize interpretation and they minimize risk. See, the less you say, the more people will argue about what you mean. Sanders didn't need to say he was winning the job. The ambiguity let thousands of fans and dozens of media members say it for him, creating this groundswell of support based on nothing but pure speculation. And this slide shows you exactly how that speculation is laundered into a real story. It's a 4-step cycle that happens in a matter of hours. First, the player drops the vague post. Instantly, fan accounts and forums go into complete overdrive, dissecting every letter. Then, media aggregators who are always hungry for clicks and content see that fan buzz and they turn it into an article. And just like that, a narrative is born. A QB controversy now exists. And it was created and amplified before a single coach or team executive said a word, forcing them to react to a story that didn't even exist that morning. Remember this number, 3. 3 simple words. That is the entire payload of the original message. That's all it took to hijack the media conversation, to generate thousands of comments and dozens of articles, and to create a days-long news cycle across the entire Cleveland Browns ecosystem, all centered on him. Now look at this number. 68.1. That was Shedeur Sanders' actual passer rating as a rookie, a number that suggests he struggled, and struggled mightily. And this contrast right here is the entire point of this modern communications war. The 3 words created infinitely more buzz, more debate, and more perceived leverage than his entire body of on-field work from the previous season. His social media game was far more effective than his actual game. So let's tie all of this together. What does a complex, kind of bureaucratic rule proposal submitted to the NFL league office have in common with a simple 3-word social media post from a rookie quarterback? The answer is everything. This chart really visualizes our core idea perfectly. For years, almost 100% of the focus was on that first bar, on-field performance. But the modern playbook has expanded. Winning now requires mastery in the other 2 arenas. The long game of structural strategy, manipulating the very rules of the league, and the short game of narrative warfare, manipulating perception through media. A team that only focuses on that first bar is now at a significant disadvantage. This is the two-front war in a nutshell. They are not two separate stories. They are two sides of the same coin, driven by the same core philosophy. The rule proposal is a macro-level strategic attack designed to give the Browns a structural advantage over every other team for years to come. The QB post is a micro-level tactical maneuver designed to gain immediate leverage within the team. Different tactics, different battlefields, but they share the exact same goal: to create leverage, to create an edge, to find an advantage where other people aren't even looking. Which leaves us with a final and I think pretty provocative question. As the lines blur between the field, the front office, and the timeline on your phone, we have to ask, in this new era of football, is the most important game still the one played between the white lines on Sunday? Or is it now one in the meeting rooms and on the screens we all hold in our hands? Thanks so much for watching this deep dive on NFL Nexus. We live for this kind of analysis, so if you enjoyed it, please do us a huge favor. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop a comment below. We really want to know what you think. Is this two-front war the future of the NFL? And hey, one last thing, if you want to help support the channel, we've created a line of NFL-themed coloring books. They're perfect for kids and grandkids, and honestly, they're a great way for adults to de-stress too. You can find the link in the description or just scan the QR code right here on the screen. We truly appreciate all your support, and we'll see you in the next explainer.